Welcome to the Verdant Resiliency Overview. Our program helps your leaders and teams build resiliency through scientifically proven tactics. We believe that resiliency is the skill for today's workplace. Our program is scaffolded upon the metaphor of going on a journey. Metaphors are essential for learning complex concepts and have been shown to help accelerate learning, increase recollection, and create deeper connections by reusing neural pathways that already exist. Just as with any journey, you can't move forward until you know where you are starting from. So we begin our program with an understanding of the science behind stress, resiliency, and burnout. Participants learned about the evolutionary necessity of stress responses, the positivity of stress in some circumstances, how our brains process and retain information, and the concepts of neuroplasticity and neurolinguistics. As Mark Twain has said, I have been through some terrible things in my life, some of which have actually happened. This quote shows the scientific insights we have recently had around how the brain works. For example, we show participants this study from Zurich that shows how the brain processes information. Transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS mapping, was used to show that the brain's response to thinking about an activity, in this case flexing your finger, is the same as actually doing the activity. This insight helps us understand how our thoughts impact our behaviors and feelings. To better understand where they are starting from, we can build on our journey metaphor by considering what we will pack for our trip. We need to know what shoes, what style of clothes, what eyewear we have. These are the resources we bring with us, and they align with the 3 concepts that we teach our participants about themselves. Our kryptonite helps us understand the situations that are particularly challenging, helps us build specific tactics for responding, and helps us better accept who we are, which is kind of like our shoes. This helps us identify what might be challenging for us, what terrain could be difficult. This can include everything from anxiousness when running late to getting unnerved when confronted by other people. We build on this understanding in our Resiliency app microlearning and second session, in which participants learned about their stress styles and the concept of distortions or biases. Stress styles build off the 4 trauma responses of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. These are kind of like the clothes we take with us on our journey, and they help participants recognize when they are in reactive mode and how this will show up for them and for those around them. Finally, we have our biases, those glasses through which we see the world. Studies show there are over 150 of these skewed ways in interpreting information and interactions. Understanding this about ourselves, the baggage we bring, helps us better recognize our responses when we are under stress. Now that we know where we are starting from, we need to know where we are going and why. These are our goals and values. A 2021 study of U.S. workers across multiple industries showed that work alignment with values increased job satisfaction 45% and work engagement 36%. Through microlearning and in-class activities, we help students identify their values to better connect with what is most important to them. We have them identify their goals, which, when combined with values, create a guide for decision-making and monitoring emotional responses. We also know that goal setting in and of itself increases positivity 44% and self-acceptance 34%. Values and goals become the pathway for creating more effective responses to stress. As we finalize our journey preparations, we connect to the unique talents each person will bring with them. Just like some of us are good at learning languages or have a strong sense of direction, our gifts or strengths help us move along on our journey. We use whichever model your organization has implemented, including Gallup's strengths or the predictive index. For those who prefer, we also have a generic model that includes microlearning for all 24 potential gifts. Knowing what drives us and where we naturally excel can help us recognize when we are being stretched, cope during stressful situations, and recover more quickly from setbacks. For those who would like to go more deeply on this topic, such as in building new teams or recovering from a difficult experience, we can expand this section to help bolster trust and improve team communications. Boundaries are the final component we need to know as we head out on our journey, as conflict and strain can increase when our boundaries are being crossed. We go through 8 different boundaries, helping participants identify what is more important to them as individuals. In combination with everything they've learned so far about themselves, be it how they respond under pressure to what is more important to them in achieving their goals, boundaries equip teams and leaders with what they need to more effectively manage stress and decrease burnout risk. We add to this by teaching participants the 3 most often cited tactics for burnout prevention and resiliency. These are mindfulness, compassion, and acceptance. These tools have been highly impactful for participants to date. Let's hear from a few of them now.
Like I was finally given the, Dora's backpack. Like I finally got the tools that I need to actually live life without stressing.
What people really lack is, oh, I'm faced with this now. What tool can I dip in quickly so I can make myself resilient, I can make myself stronger, and also use it with my team. And what this gives is those immediate tools for you to keep in your back pocket and pull out and use.
We start with mindfulness, focusing on a simplified and pragmatic approach, observing our thoughts and emotions rather than letting them take over. Throughout the class, we have practiced mindfulness and made 5 to 30-second mindfulness exercises available in our Resiliency app. Students further learn how mindfulness helps them move from reactive mode, where their brain responds without attention, to a more thoughtful response that is aligned to their values and goals. The next 2 concepts, self-compassion and acceptance, have been shown through multiple studies to improve stress response, decrease strain, improve coping, accelerate recovery, and deepen teamwork. In fact, a 2020 study showed that practicing self-compassion had a 44% correlation to the World Health Organization's WHO-5 index and a 59% improvement in overall life satisfaction. Self-compassion accesses the parts of our brains connected to happiness and caregiving, improving not just how we treat ourselves, but how we interact with others. Similarly, acceptance, which enables us to recognize what can and cannot be controlled, helps leaders and teams adapt quickly to changes and focus their emotional energy on what's most important. In their study of UK residents during the height of the COVID-19 crisis, Mead et al. Showed that acceptance of difficult situations increased well-being by 54%. In this ever-changing world of work, practicing the tactics of acceptance can mitigate the adverse impacts of hardship and suffering, providing teams with a powerful response in uncertain times. Equipped with the 3 tools of mindfulness, compassion, and acceptance, participants now apply our resiliency model to a variety of situations, from everyday reflection to reacting in times of crisis. Based on the concept of stress as a flame, we leverage the model we learned as children. If you are on fire, you stop, drop, and roll. The same is true for emotional flare-ups. Teams will learn to stop, use mindfulness to observe their thoughts and feelings, checking in on themselves to see if their stress style or biases are filtering their points of view. Drop, by connecting to their values and goals with the non-judgment of self-compassion and the acceptance of identifying what can and cannot be controlled. And finally, they will roll forward by building a plan based on their unique gifts and what's most important to them. We practice this resiliency approach at various levels of heat, which wraps up our training with a pragmatic model they can easily access when under stress. Studies show that learning these skills improves well-being up to 70%. By developing these skills in your leaders and teams, you will have competencies that impact more than the individual. Additionally, you will have new capabilities that can be integrated into your onboarding processes, team dynamics, and change initiatives. Here are what some of our participants have also shared.
We're just seeing it amplify and becoming, in some industries, a crisis of sorts. So what if we were to take a step back and look at preparing people with the strategies and tools so they can identify the triggers and mitigate responses so they can continue to be effective.
I care so deeply that people live their purpose, that they contribute their gifts to this world in a way that no one else can. And you cannot do that if you are not well, if you are not managing your stress, if you aren't building resilience.
We believe that resiliency skills based on scientifically proven tactics and insights are critical for any business, especially those looking to grow, expand, innovate, or change. In our new and ever-changing world, we need novel approaches to overcome an uncertain future and help our teams thrive and flourish.